beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to this video on the topic of how to shift energy. My previous video was on the topic of world events as galactic triggers, and today I have 3 times received the message about being a human angel and to really focus on the energy of the world. And a lot of us have felt during this threshold, because if you followed my shared updates, then you have seen that I talked recently about the galactic precipitation, and just recently when I was waking up from one of my dreams, Spirit shared with me again that as these immense openings happen, what follows is sometimes these turbulent times when everything is coming to the surface. But where we are now, where we stand, is not just knowing this in our awareness, but actually doing the work. So as we work with the unseen energies, a lot of times, with the collective and collective unconscious, things that we're working with are on all levels, not just doing the unseen work, but also the seen work. So I wanted to shortly present to you some of the things that we can do for our physical embodiment as we're going through these waves of filtering this energy and transmuting this energy and working with the energy of transformation through soul alchemy. I've shared in the previous video that it's very important to work with our light DNA. And the creation angels Seraphim hold our light DNA, and they help us to really rewrite that with step into the complete absolution of our true source light, and then transform our reality basically by again revitalizing our light DNA and bringing this new quotance of light to this realm. So I want to share with you some of the examples what we can do when we are within those waves that we can sometimes describe as dense collective energy, and how you will feel that it's what you're feeling as of the collective is simultaneously you will feel your joy, you will feel like your life is beautiful, and you won't feel sad about your own life, but at the same time you can feel sadness, you can feel things coming up to the surface. You can feel clogginess, densiness, stressfulness, all these things simultaneously. So when you feel this in parallel, you know that a lot of times you're feeling the collective simultaneously as you're going about your life. And a part of you as a worker of transformation and bringing this cultivated life force into great balance is to understand that just shielding yourself won't work. A lot of people in the New Age talk about shielding yourself, like basically removing yourself from what's happening. We can't remove ourselves from what's happening. When we talk about the nature of shielding in terms of creating a beautiful sacred space so that invasive energies that really want to harm and they're not working for the benefit of the white unity light, that's a different thing than talking about shielding as in shielding ourselves to kind of escape from what's happening. Shielding and escapism shouldn't be even considered as in the same sentence. So it's good to shield, but basically not to shield is to negate what's happening, but to create this white light field of a sacred space. So when I do spirit messages, Spirit always says, surround yourself, enter into this white circle light. So we can do the same, but what's happening later, how you can help yourself to release, there are a few very simple things that are basically how to bring the energies that are transforming themselves through you, that you're helping to transform in a very simple human way. So a lot of times we don't even consider the most simple methods, but they are going through our bodies. We are doing the embodiment work. So we can't cultivate a higher life force stream if we don't really first allow ourselves to feel. So the first exercise would be just observing whether you allow yourself to feel these things or not. Whether you're personal, collective, doesn't matter. You're feeling what you're feeling. A lot of times people need reason or justification to feel a certain way. They say, I'm in a bad mood, but it has no reason. And then they say, why am I in a bad mood? I shouldn't be. So they feel guilty for feeling in a bad mood. And we've all been there. We all feel that sometimes. And the first thing is to just observe and say, okay, I'm in a bad mood. Why? Just not analyzing it, but letting it come to you. Many times it will be, you say, well, there's no sense for me feeling this way, and you're feeling it anyway. Just allow yourself to feel that way, because the first step is always allowing yourself to feel what's there, because otherwise you can't transform the energy. For Ascension Pioneers who are doing this work of transformation, like I said, just shielding and then that's where it ends won't work. Because if you came here with the purpose of transforming these energies through your sacred soul alchemy, then you can't just shield and forget about the world. So the second step would be letting this flow of feelings being released through your body. For me, what works is crying. When the energy really starts to, when I allow it, I will feel it, because when I finally allow it, there's almost like a button goes off and I start to cry so much. And a lot of times I don't even know I'm crying, but it's so purgatory in a way. It's really helpful. And it just, when we cry, there's this beautiful sense of energy being put in motion. You know, when they have these statues of the holy saints, and they say, wow, we saw them with actual tears running down their cheeks, although the statues are made of stone or clay or whatever. And this really symbolizes this, you know, that the tears are so sacred, they're so divine, they help to get the energy in motion. So then the next step would really be working with your heart, a lot of the times physically as well. For me, what really helps, what Spirit showed me recently, is just massaging your heart center. Because not just we have this beautiful cosmic heart space here that's energetic, but we have beautiful heart physically as well. So what helps me is to maybe take a little of the essential oils, put them and rub them, and really do slow motion movement with your heart and just rub it in as you're feeling guided to. And it really helps if you're saying, I honor you, you know, and I honor these feelings. You don't have to say my feelings, because again, you're associating with it. Just say, these feelings, whatever you are, I honor you, I accept you, I embrace you, and all is perfection. And just continue to rub. You know, a lot of times when we don't embrace these feelings, they'll start to clog up. And there's a lot of females that in their breast, they have these lumps, and, you know, a lot of repression happens. So this is the area where we start to accumulate then. So we need to do this part as well to release this. We release through embracing, basically. So what helps also is, on the physical level, after this process, soaking in salt water baths. I'm not necessarily such a fan of baths, because you see, I live in the Alps. I prefer the cold to immense heat, and when it gets really hot in the bath, it's like I'm almost like a dog trying to go out of the water. I'm like, oh, get me out of here, it's too hot, you know. But it really, if we allow ourselves, it really helps, because salt, you know, it's very cleansing. It's like a substance of that mineral essence, and it helps to just absorb that, and you once again bring it back to the energy of grounding. Salt can be very grounding as well. Bring it to the element of the earth. You bring things into crystallization. So water also is like this space when you feel like in your womb, you know, when we are in a womb, where everything is filled with water. So we have this feeling of safety, of being embraced and nurtured. So this is almost like a process that's very physical at times, but it works, because we're still physical beings, and these energies that we're transforming them. And then the next step, when you feel, wow, you have released all that was there to release, raise the energy up. You will be guided to do this in your own way. Maybe you will do some of the tantric exercises. It usually begins just by breathing, or you can create a triangulation figure, put it in your womb, male or female, we all have inner womb of creation and creativity, life force. So then just start to breathe into this area. And what you can do is, you know, exercises that pull your muscle, you know, your inner muscle and your scrotum. I don't know how it's called, but these are the so-called Kegel, you know, Kegel exercises. Basically, they were proven to exist before this person known to us as Kegel brought them into practice. So these are ancient exercises, basically. They originate from times ancient. And when you do this first slowly, and then, you know, maybe quicker contractions and releases, you're basically starting to align yourself again with the pulse of your inner womb, and you're doing this activity to revitalize yourself, revitalize your womb of creativity. So when you feel, we don't usually do this before the energy is released. So after the release, then we lift up the Kundalini energy again. And this is what I'm being shown continuously now, that this gift of our sacred Kundalini is, when we consciously are doing it, is really the gift to the world. And these messages that are coming up now, and is that so much is happening because we have lifted so much, and, you know, as almost as much light as is triggered, as much of the things come to the surface of that which was before hidden and suppressed. So a lot of times we won't even know where to place certain thing, what to do with it, but it doesn't matter. What it matters is acknowledging it and not feeling guilt to feel in a certain mood. A lot of us are always positive, you know, a lot of people are always positive. They're always, you know, smiling and always lifting up others, but A lot of these people don't always have someone to do that for them. And this was like, for me, my entire life, I felt I was always the one doing this and pulling others up, and I never had a person in a physical sense that stood behind me and said, when you fall in this, when I'm going to do that for you. Basically, it was just spirit. And that's just the nature of my purpose. But a lot of times it really helps at least to have someone listen to you, to talk about these things, and you won't maybe necessarily know how to explain to others what's happening. When you will get like this, it won't necessarily be because of you or you got issues, things like that. It will just be because you're so connected to the collective. You are part of the group that's helping to transform this, to bring it back to wholeness and to unity. And when these days come, we have to honor them, in good and bad. Like in weddings, they say, well, to take each other in good and bad, sickness and health. Well, we have to first honor that within ourselves, because that's the gift we do to ourselves first. So these exercises are basically very practical ways of how to shift energy. And when we feel something, instead of feeling guilt for it, the energy will run through so much faster when we just acknowledge it and embrace what we're feeling, and that's when the miracles really start to take place. So I encourage you to do that. There are some exercises in my Sacred Sexuality and Sacred Alchemy course, Mastery course. But like I've shared with you before, there will be lots more coming probably next year about this. We're moving into these times when the energy has been brewing to the surface, and now we will have to learn how to really work with it so consciously that when things like that happen, when we feel them as dense, it's going to be easier for us to shift the energy. We were still learning in a way so far, but it's going to become much easier and easier for us. So in the end, we'll just be like, true. The energy shifted. But it's just a process, so we have to be patient with the process. It also helps if you have certain points when you feel contraction there, just massaging that point. It's the pressure point, the touch, the alchemy of touch. It doesn't have to be someone else touching you, but it can be so stimulative. And what really also helps for me is massaging this point, our third eye area, because it helps you to move into the inner realm of feeling, so you quickly get into this higher perspective of what's really happening, where really the energy is moving and what you are helping to move through. So I hope this was helpful. I have to go now. Enjoy the rest of my walk, and I'll talk to you soon. So stay updated, and as always, so much love, wisdom, and power with divine grace. I'll see you soon.